You're listening to the Connection Care Community Podcast, a podcast designed to help you understand your body more deeply and feel more confident navigating your hormones, cycle, and fertility. Each episode offers grounded, research-informed guidance and integrative tools to support hormone health, embodied awareness, and informed choice. If you're seeking clarity, connection, and a more trusting relationship with your body, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Here's your host, the founder of Connection Care Therapy, Majida.
Hello and welcome to the Connection Care Community Podcast. My name is Majida, and today we're diving into the world of supplements. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how we can engage our cycles to modify, improve, or better understand our supplement routine. This is a conversation I've been wanting to have on this podcast for a while because supplementation is one of those areas that so many people are doing so much in, and sometimes are still not getting the results that they actually desire or hope for, need, or expect. And often it's not about the quality of the supplements, and it's not even about what you're doing or how you're taking the supplements, but it's about when. So most supplement routines, and let me know if you can relate to this. I've even built my supplement routines based upon symptoms, right? Just symptom by symptom. This symptom pops up, so I take something for it. Kind of like how we've been conditioned to take certain types of pharmaceuticals or over-the-counter medication, right? I feel tired, I take something for energy. PMS shows up, I'm gonna try this supplement, right? Magnesium maybe. I'm dealing with a lot of stress, so I take something that's supposed to help me with HPA axis regulation. And on the surface, that seems very proactive, but what I've oftentimes seen is that these routines tend to be disconnected from our natural rhythm, the rhythm of our body. Because as we know, especially if we've been listening to this podcast for a while, or if you are really diving into the world of learning to sync your cycle, hormones do not remain static across the month. They are shifting constantly, and those shifts, they affect all kinds of things, including how your body uses nutrients, how your nervous system responds, how your metabolism functions, and even how sensitive you are to certain types of stimulation. So a supplement that could have been supported 2 weeks ago in your cycle could possibly feel completely different today in your cycle. If you've ever had the experience of something that helped you 1 month and then suddenly you feel like it's off the next, it's a good chance that it wasn't your supplement that changed, but there's a potential, right? Strong potential that it's actually your hormonal environment that has shifted. So when we talk about cycle syncing supplements, I want to be really clear that we're not going about this in a way that is micromanaging every capsule you take. It's not about creating more complication, getting into more rigid protocols. What I'm offering is that cycle syncing is another tool that you can use to reflect on your overall health, your overall well-being, including how you're supplementing in a way that encourages alignment, right? I'll use that word, alignment. It's about understanding when your body is more receptive to certain types of support, and perhaps when your body may not be more receptive to certain types of support. And when we do that, supplementation can actually become a bit simpler, more simplified, not more complex. So what I'd like to do now is to walk us through phase by phase in our cycle in a way that we can start to feel into rather than memorize or have some kind of like coming from top down, right? Coming from the body up, and really like going into each phase of the cycle. And as we do so, I'm keeping this pretty high level. If you want specific breakdowns, specific supplements, what have you, more structured guidance, all of that, I invite you to go over to the full Substack article. While you're there, please be sure to drop a like and drop a subscribe. I'd love to hear from you and for us to be connected in this community. So just gently pointing you in that direction if you'd like more of a deep dive. But for overview here, we're going to start in the follicular phase as we do. And the follicular phase includes from the time you start to menstruate all the way through to when you ovulate. And so during this time period, estrogen is on the rise. Also, what can be going on is that under the influence of estrogen, inflammation can oftentimes be more so on the decreasing during this time. The body, and oftentimes with the body, our mindset can shift to more of an outward facing state. It's not uncommon for those of us who have a robust amount of estrogen during this time, or healthy amount of estrogen during this time, that we may feel a bit more clear here, lighter, more motivated. And so the intention with supplementation in this phase is around supporting natural lifts without pushing the body too hard. This is where gentle supports are for energy, estrogen metabolism, supports around digestion can fit in quite nicely, unless you are navigating something that where you have like a actual diagnosis or a concern. I do not advocate for aggressive detox protocols or intense protocols. We're talking about if you're navigating relatively regular cycles, we're talking about just supporting, right? Steady input, because estrogen is rising for a reason. It's helping to rebuild your uterine lining. It's providing support around ovulation. And of course, we're not trying to do anything that would suppress that. We're just supporting the body during that time, so that natural rise happens robustly to move us towards ovulation. So as estrogen rises, the follicle builds around the egg, and then eventually estrogen rises to the point where it stimulates another hormone in our body, luteinizing hormone, and ovulation occurs. And what's left behind is the corpus luteum, but we'll get into the luteal stage in just a bit. We're in the ovulatory phase of our cycle. And despite this being a shorter window, right, this is right, the phase in which estrogen is increasing, is maxing out, and ovulation is about to occur. So this is a shorter window. However, it's a super, super powerful window. Estrogen at this point, as I said, is at its peak. Ovulation is going to be approaching. It's about to be happening. And there's a little bit more of what's called oxidative stress that can occur in the body at this time. So here, we're less about activation. We're more about supporting protection, supporting the body with things that would buffer oxidative stress and maintain balance. And one of the things I want to name here, because I hear this a lot, the idea of boosting ovulation, right, during ovulation, by the time you're in this phase, right, by the time the cascade of hormones is already happening, it's already in motion. So it's important to just point out that this idea that we can make something happen that the cascade isn't already in motion for is not quite accurate. Ovulation isn't something that in this moment, in this cycle, that we can meaningfully push at the moment. There are things that we can do to support, like for example, our ovulatory cycle is very sensitive to vitamin D, right? So healthy amounts of vitamin D can be very, very supportive around this time. So what I oftentimes offer with my clients when we're having conversations and they bring up something like, how can I boost my ovulation? What I offer is that instead of trying to intervene right at ovulation, that we think about how we're supporting the body leading up to ovulation. So can get into that much more, but again, we're just giving some brief overview of the cycle phases for those who this may be new information to them. So the next phase that we have is the luteal phase, and this is where I oftentimes see a lot of disconnect when it comes to supplementation. During this stage, we have progesterone is rising, our metabolism is increasing. We have dynamics around insulin sensitivity. The nervous system is shifting towards a much more inward, stabilizing state. But many supplement routines aren't changing. I'll see people who are taking energizing blends, stimulating herbs, detox-focused protocols, maintaining the same dynamic around their fasting, intermittent fasting routines, all the way through into their luteal phase. And with that, it's not uncommon that the body can start to push back. There can be anxiety or cravings or sleep disruptions or more PMS symptoms, because it's like, if you think about it this way, trying to speed up when your body is biologically asking you to slow down. So in this phase, support more often looks like things that would aid in nervous system regulation, blood sugar stability, and ensuring that you are navigating blood sugar in a very conscientious way. There's a very deep and intimate relationship between blood sugar and what's going on with insulin at the different cycle phases. And during this phase, for example, I work with a lot of people who are come to me on a multitude of dietary lifestyles, and it's not uncommon for me to encourage increasing actually carbohydrates during this time because of what progesterone needs in order to function robustly. So something that I think is just really important for us to understand is that if the luteal phase feels intense, it's not a sign. It can oftentimes not be a sign to add more. This sometimes is feedback about things that may have occurred at earlier stages in your cycle. It's not uncommon for those of us in the fertility awareness space and those who do cycle awareness, cycle literacy conversations to educate that what is going on in the luteal phase can oftentimes be a reflection as to what has happened in the previous stage of your cycle. Okay. So even though the menstrual stage is part of the follicular phase, I'm going to end with talking about the menstrual stage. So after your luteal phase ends and we have our menstrual lining starts to shed, we're at the point here where our hormones are the lowest, where inflammatory processes, in order for menstruation to even occur, right? Inflammation oftentimes increases, the body is shedding, the body is repairing. And in this phase, we're doing oftentimes less can be most supportive. This is what I just offer. It's not oftentimes the best for heavy optimization. We're in a time where the body is repleting, restoring, replenishing, renewing. It's a time for nourishment, consistency. The body may need support around certain minerals and rest. We might be navigating a level of depletion when it comes to iron. So something, just a side note, I strongly encourage, along with every year getting a comprehensive thyroid lab, to also get a comprehensive iron panel that includes things like ferritin, for example, so that we can know what's going on with your iron levels. Because of course, we're shedding and we're losing a lot during our menstrual time. And it makes sense that it's a time of inflammation, because inflammation is part of the process. And so gentle inflammatory supports may be very useful here. Things like curcumin and golden teas that have turmeric in them, for example. So one of the patterns that I see is the urge to reset everything during this phase, to start over, right? To shift in that way. And just keeping in mind that the body oftentimes during our menstrual phase tends to respond extremely well to steady, restorative, very simplified supports. So zooming in on something for a moment, because what I see over and over again is in practice is that many people are already taking high quality supplements. Perhaps you've done your research and you've invested in really good products. And if that's not the case, I really do offer that you really consider, that not all supplements are built the same. Not all supplements are built equally. Some have a certain level of vigorousness when it comes to testing and ensuring that there's not certain kinds of byproducts in them. Something that I offer is that you go over to my supplement store. I have a whole supplement store on my website, and a whole full script account where I have supplements I've vetted and recommended. So if you're curious about just ensuring that you're getting certain types of high quality supplements, if you're curious about what is a good prenatal supplement, if you are wanting to find a really great form of magnesium glycinate or NAC or any of these, and all, I offer that you just check that out. And make sure that the first step is that you're engaging with a high quality supplement. And so saying that if that's the case, right, which I've noticed, like, people are becoming very conscientious in this domain, then the thing that we're looking at shifting is that we're making even small adjustments, right? Small adjustments in relationship to our cycle. So PMS can oftentimes soften without needing to add more supplements if we are attending to what are the supplements that we're doing during our cycle and ensuring that it makes sense for the stage of the cycle that we're in. We can see energy becoming more stabilized and digestion improving, and certain mystery reactions start to settle because the body, as I've been saying, is not just responding to what you're taking, it's also attending. The body is responding to when you're taking it as well. So this bringing us back to the foundations, right? That all of this works best if you're actually first engaged with tracking your cycle, so that you know where you are actually at in your cycle. Right? We understand more so what foods benefit certain hormonal shifts in our cycle, when we need certain types of nervous system regulation, when we need certain types of digestive support based upon where we're at in our cycle. And this is why I don't teach cycle syncing as like a checklist that you go through and do this specific thing at this specific time, because it's not about doing everything perfectly in relationship to some kind of external checklist. It's really about building a personal literacy with your cycle and with your body, and understanding your body well enough so that you can make aligned decision making. And with that, to those who are wondering and wanting more support around their supplement routine, I have way more information, as I said, on my Substack, where I get into more specific supplements. I mentioned a few here that you may look into for the certain stages of your cycle that you're in, or certain concerns that you may be having. And I also, because my work is about personalization and whole body care and individualized care, if you're running into any kinds of confusions or need any kind of support, one of the areas that I'm certified through, I'm currently in completion of my clinical nutritionist certification, which has been a multi-year, very intensive process. And under that certification, I've gotten others, like the other certifications, such as being a nutritional therapist. I'm a certified nutritional therapist. I'm a certified fertility nutritional therapist, and I'm also certified in supplements and as a supplement practitioner, advanced supplement practitioner. And so if that's something that you're looking for support on, please, come on over and let me know how I can support you, and we'll see how we can make sure that you're understanding this information as it pertains to your own body. And beyond that, if you're looking for more structure support, I invite you to sign up to my mailing list for when my Cycle Connection course launches, where I bring together information around cycle tracking, hormone health, integrative fertility awareness in a way that is actually sustainable. So leaving this podcast here for now, just offering step 1, start tracking your cycle, so that you can then start to consider what it looks like to sync your cycle. And that includes with what kinds of supplements you're taking to nourish and support the specific stages of your cycle that you're in. As always, I thank you for spending time with me today and for being part of this community. If you'd like to go deeper, be sure to check out the full article and additional resources that are over on Substack. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comments. I always like to hear from folks. And just really blessed to have you in community. And we will chat again in the next podcast. In the meantime, be sure to stay connected.
That does it for this episode of the Connection Care Community Podcast with Majida. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you're leaving with a fresh perspective on your body and overall well-being, along with practical tools you can integrate into daily life. The support doesn't stop here. Be sure to connect with us online at connectioncaretherapy.com for more resources to guide you on your journey. You can also find us on Substack and connect with Majida on Instagram at Majida Sai'da. Remember to rate, review, and share this podcast. And most importantly, stay connected.